Hey friends, Donovan here with FretSpot.com, talking to you today about the new Ibanez Promethean. What is this? This is the P5110. It's the 500 watt combo with a single 10-inch ceramic driver. And I'm going to do a quick little mini review. These were introduced at Winter NAMM, but they're just now starting to ship out to stores. I'm fortunate enough to be able to get one, so I thought I'd take it and let you guys kind of hear it and see it firsthand, and get kind of an in-person video type review of what this amp is like. So it's pretty slick. My first experience has been pretty positive with it. I've had a chance to play it now for a couple of weeks, and I think it's definitely a contender in this series of mini amps. It's Ibanez's version of probably like the Ginsbins, Shuttle, mark-based type equipment, things like that. So they do a nice job, and they do it in a price point that that no one else is in yet. So it's a much lower price point than where most of these products are residing. So let's get to the feature set, shall we? So here we have the front of the amp. Again, on the combo version, it's a 10-inch ceramic driver. If you were to get the extension cab with it, it would have a neodymium speaker, a dome tweeter. There's 5 screws that attach the grill to the top, ported in the front. It's really pretty nice. On the bottom, there's this little handle that kind of, sorry, it's hard to get on the camera, that flips out to make it a kickback design, which is pretty slick. If we look at the top, the handle area is recessed, and if you're familiar with the Ginsbins Shuttle, the handle is much more comfortable on this amp than it is on the Ginsbins. It seems a little softer, doesn't have any sharp points like the Ginsbins does, so it's kind of nice. Looking at the top of the amp section itself, you see we've got a really good looking red color, which is nice. Stands out really well, looks good on a gig. So we've got red with white lettering. Over here on the left, we've got, of course, input, an on-off mute switch, which is pretty handy. That can be controlled with a foot switch. Gain control with a clip LED, so that as we are overdriving the front end of the preamp, it'll flash and light up. Two parametric EQs, low and high. A reasonably comprehensive graphic EQ that can be turned on and off with a push button over here. It's pretty nice. I mean, it's got most of the frequencies really that you would need. The thing that's probably most unique to this amp, it has what we call a vibe control. It can be switched on and off, and you can dial it in anywhere between very modern sounds and very, very vintage sounds. Essentially what's kind of happening is as you move more and more over to the vintage side, you lose a lot of high end and treble, and it gets very warm and dark sounding. If you move it all the way over to the modern side, to me it sounds basically the same as if you just shut it off. So I guess to say that would mean that the amp in and of itself, if you're not using this, it's a very modern sounding amp. But if you switch this on and start dialing in some vibe, it'll make it sound a little more old school. Then we have a master volume control with a power amp clip. We have an auxiliary input here. Plug your iPod, iPhone, MP3 players in, whatever. And then a headphone input there. So, pretty slick. Looking on the back of the amp, we've got, there's 4 knurled thumb screws that you can screw to take the amp off, which I'll do here in just a minute. And on the bottom of the amp, I'm going to try to do this in a way where you can see it better. There we go. We shouldn't both have to look upside down. At least you can see it right side up. Of course, the power cord on-off switch. This is for the extension cab. If you wanted to use 1/4 inch input for a cab other than the standard cab, you could. Fan. Over here is for the direct outs. We've got the direct out there, and then a level control, EQ, and a ground lift. And over here we have tuner outs and foot switch control. And the foot switch control will control the EQ, strike that. The foot switch control controls the mute function and also the vibe function. Take the head out's pretty easy. Obviously, want to unplug everything. Take out the screws. At that point, the head just slides right out. And as you can see, I mean, it's pretty small, lightweight head. I'm looking at a Ginsbin shuttle right now, and they're probably about the same size. This is probably just slightly wider, but shorter in height in this direction than the Ginsbins. The other nice thing about the Ginsbins is that it's only held in by 2 thumb screws, and the screw portion is shorter, so the Ginsbin's head is easier to take in and out. So I'll give it that for sure. That being said, this isn't that difficult, but it's going to take you longer than the Ginsbins does.
Okay, so right now I've got the amp set flat, and what I'm going to do is I'll play it flat, and then I will dial in a slap tone kind of bit by bit to let you hear how each different section changes it, and we'll go from there.